Hello, thank you very much for joining us on platform on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguele. Let's begin with a very important part. Persons actually in society, they affect us one way or the other. I'm talking about teachers. We know they are nation builders, and teaching is service to humanity. Teachers hold the responsibility of raising the future of the nation through the children they teach. We are products of the kind of foundation that was laid for us through learning. Teachers, through their perseverance, love, and sacrifice, has shown us the right path to greatness. But the teaching profession for a while now has not been among the top 3 professions, especially in this part of the world, when it comes to welfare. But good news for teachers, President Muhammadu Buhari has just signed a new national teaching policy. Now, what does this portend for teachers in the country? How will this help improve the welfare of teachers and change the narrative for the teaching profession in Nigeria? Which brings our attention to the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria. Now, part of its key mandate of the TRCN is to regulate and control teaching profession at every level of the education system in Nigeria, both private and public sectors. Also, to determine what standards of knowledge and skills are to be attained by persons seeking to become registered as teachers under this act, and raising those standards from time to time as circumstances may permit. Now, the council was established by Decree 31 of 1993, now Act Cap T3 of 2004. With the new national policy in place, there are lots of questions that readily comes to mind. And our focus on platform today is evaluating the new national teaching policy. And our guest is no other person than the Registrar, Chief Executive, Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, Professor Segun Ajiboye. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us on platform.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here. And I really appreciate that wonderful intro.
Thank you very much, and we have a lot to talk about.
Thank you.
Especially with this new policy.
That's why we're here.
Okay, I'm afraid we don't have your profile ready right now, but we'll just shoot right away. But before that, let's introduce our panelist, Rashida Tolagunju. She's the head of education text here for NTA. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ruth.
Okay, she's also one of the teachers we have.
Ooh, that's great. Excellent.
All right, so Prof, the new national teaching policy. Good news for teachers. How do you feel?
Yeah, one feels great. But you see, I want to really appreciate Mr. President for signing the bill for the 65 years to law on Friday last week.
Yes.
Nigerians, especially Nigerian teachers, have been anticipating what is going to happen because the approval actually were announced. All these approval we are talking about were announced in October 2020. Okay? But giving effect to them, and some people have actually cleverly done it to be able to summarize everything that Mr. President approved, because I see they have seen the major document and they have been able to cleverly itemize all the things that Mr. President actually approved. So what we are seeing is just a part of what Mr. President have actually done with regards to the approval he gave on the welfare packages for Nigerian teachers in October 2020. And the Honorable Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, actually made the announcement to the whole world at the World Teachers Day, October 5th, 2020. But what we are seeing presently is giving effect, giving a bite to the approval that has actually been given. And one major step that has been taken by Mr. President is signing into law that extension of years of service or retirement age for Nigerian teachers, which is one of the major things that has been a big it's been part of the big discourse over the years, okay? And because there have been that clamor for several years. And I want to say that with the approval that Nigerians are looking at now, Nigerian teachers have never had it so good.
Honestly, and it's been a long time coming.
Oh, yes.
I could feel the excitement in your voice.
No.
And I know a lot of people with the policy, we're going to break it down.
You know what? Mr. President, I can say that Mr. President was guided by 2 major principles in giving this approval. One, how do we attract best brains to the teaching profession in Nigeria? We have discovered that, look, even if you have a classroom of 100, ask them, how many of you want to be teachers? Ask our children, our youth. They will say, no, I don't want to be teachers. Because of the status of the teaching profession in the country. Okay, so one, Mr. President was guided by how do we attract best brains to the teaching profession. We don't want to make it just a profession for the dregs. No, that is not. There's a saying that if the best brains will refuse to teach if the best brain in the society will refuse to teach your children will be taught by idiots, and that is the reality.
We are products of what we learned. Foundation.
That's the reality. So Mr. President was guided by one, how do we attract best brains to teaching profession? Two, how do we retain experienced teachers on the job? Those were the two cardinal principles that guided Mr. President in giving approval. And so one is very glad, especially on Friday, when Mr. President gave his assent to that bill, making it a law now, okay, on the harmonization of teachers' years of teaching service in the country. It's a big thing of joy to us as teachers. We are very happy.
Well, I know that since the pronouncement of the increment of
the extension,
the age and whatever, we've had some committee being set up to look into how this can be implemented. So how far have they gone? What stage are we now? Are we ready to take off?
That's what I'm saying. You see, when Mr. President gave the approval in 2020, we have started a committee, a national implementation committee was actually set up under the auspices. The first thing we did was actually to get buy-in of various stakeholders. First, at the level of the Federal Ministry of Education, the minister mandated the then permanent secretary of Federal Ministry of Education and myself to attend the National Council on Establishment meeting in Lagos. Because the National Council on Establishment is a council that comprises of all heads of service of all the states of the federation, with the head of service of the Federal Civil Service as the chairperson. You know, our own doctor, the head of service of the federation, she's the chairperson of that council. And so we went there to their meeting in Lagos and presented all the approvals of Mr. President. Initially, we have comments coming from some states and things like that on feasibility for implementation.
Yes, I'm actually we'll talk about that later.
Yes. We had some agitations and all this, but I want to report that it was overwhelmingly supported by the states and approved at that council meeting. So that gave one joy that, education being on concurrent list, you need the buy-in of the various states. And actually the states are the largest employers of these teachers that we are talking about. The states are the largest, they are the biggest employer. The federal government, the number of teachers with the federal government is given only unity schools. Okay? So, what we are talking about is that we need a buy-in of these state governments.
So what are your strategies already in place? Because this workings, from what you're saying, has been in place, talking about the implementation and your expectation from the states. What strategies are in place if states must key in?
That's what I'm trying to explain. That actually we have a national implementation committee. Okay, the national implementation committee is working with is headed by Office of Head of Service of the Federation, and we have the permanent secretary of Ministry of Education who has been in charge of this. Before now, it used to be Architect Sonny before he retired. Now we have a new permanent secretary in place, and the implementation committee has started, and on the 65 years, because Mr. President, when he approved these things, dates were placed. We have dates for each one of them. For example, the age component, we said January 2021, and I want to report to Nigerians that at the federal level, we started with implementation with the Fed. Even while we are still anticipating the signing into law, the bill, we have started implementation for the extension of years of service. We have started implementation with effect from January 2021. Some other components, we said January 2022. And those are the aspects that we are trying to take now, one after the other, to be able to. So the implementation committee is working. We have various committees that is saddled with the different components of these approvals. Okay? And the national implementation committee is still working.
Prof, I want to take you back to states.
Yes.
I wonder, yes or no, are they ready to key in? Because as you said, we have the largest, they are the largest employers of teachers.
Yes.
So what's the feelers from them? What should we just expect them to just come on board?
From the meeting that we had with them, our presentation at the National Council on Establishment meeting, it was a thing of joy that there was actually overwhelming support because we have all realized, look, like your intro went, it's very clear. The teachers teach, others learn. Okay? for any country, they say education is the key to national development. The teacher holds that key. For goodness sake, we have realized for those countries that we are calling achieving countries in terms of education, okay, what makes them tick is the quality of their teachers. It's only quality teachers that can drive quality education. And so because of that, I think these state governments have also come to that realization. And I want to say this, let Nigerians know that some state governments have even gone ahead. We have states like Sokoto and Jigawa and one other state that have actually gone ahead to start implementing some of these things. Okay, so it's a thing of dance, and I know the competition will start very soon.
Like, what are we talking about, Prof? When you said they've started implementation of
for example, they started implementation of the extension of the years in service. Okay. They started implementation of the allowances. Okay. Implementation of the for example, the increase in the science teachers allowance, special subjects, what we call special subjects allowance, and also rural posting allowance, and some of these to encourage the teachers. They have started implementation in some states of the federation. And you know what? Let me say this very clearly. You see, we already know that if approval is one thing at the national level, there is also the second stage is to also go to the level of the state.
And that's why I asked, what is the strategy? Aside just having the dialogue, ensuring the states key in, what strategy with this?
Let me tell you what we actually, what you need, having come to the realization that education is on concurrent list, what you need, one, advocacy, two, persuasion, and also the unions will also have to come, the teachers have their teacher unions. Yes. Okay, we are not a union. We are a government regulatory agency. Yes. Okay, we are not a union. There's a level to which we can agitate, you know that. Okay, but I know that the unions will take it further. Now they have gotten the approval, they have gotten everything at the federal level. Now they will go, each one of them will go to his own state and begin to negotiate. And we believe very strongly with the level of buy-in that we have gotten from these state governments that it's not going to be difficult to implement this. And I know no governor wants to lose they don't want to lose election. They also want, they also want to know, they don't want to lose their elections. Don't worry. They don't want to lose their elections.
But beyond, Prof, just to hold your thoughts.
So we believe very strongly that it will be easy for us to get their buy-in, especially at this period.
Okay, beyond this period, beyond election, I hope in future time we won't be seeing agitations where unions of teachers, will begin to embark on strike, that some of these policies are not, states are not meeting their demands.
As we are talking today, let me even say this, that even the national minimum wage are implemented and approved and implemented at the some states are yet to fully implement it. So we always have agitations, definitely. Don't say that we will definitely have agitations. States are endowed more than
one another
than the others. Some are better endowed than the others, and so you are going to find this agitation, pockets of agitation here and there. Okay, but what we are saying is that with the aspiration of everybody, all of us want to see quality education in Nigeria. All of us aspiring that, look, things must change. We cannot continue doing this same thing the same way, and that we should be able to make teaching a cynosure of all eyes and make it one of the pride, one of the star professions in our country. Okay, if you look at countries like Singapore, like you don't even go there. I was trying to check the list of some countries, looking at the salaries they earn. I checked a country like Singapore, like teachers earn. I checked a country like Singapore, for example. Teachers at basic school level, a beginner teacher in Singapore is earning 4,080 Singaporean dollars. Per month. When I converted that, it was giving me about 2.something million naira. Okay, when I converted it, 4,080 Singaporean dollars. That's what a beginner teacher earns in Singapore. Singapore and Nigeria, they used to be at par. Okay, what makes the difference is actually if you all aspire to have quality education, we must be ready to pay for it. Nothing comes cheap. Yeah. Okay, and these teachers,
education is expensive.
Yes, and if you say education is expensive, try ignorance.
Okay, Prof. I can see, Prof is really passionate about this. The whole of this.
No, all of us should be. And I'm glad And I'm glad you are bringing. Look, the media actually should be at the vanguard of this. All of us should be. They are our children. If we have escaped, for example, some of us have escaped that our children are not being taught by this way. What of our grandchildren? Are you sure of those who will teach your grandchildren? And that's why we should all be concerned about the quality of the teachers. Look at what is happening in private schools today, where you don't have quality teachers. Look at what is happening. You know, in public schools in Nigeria, we have about 83% of teachers in public schools in Nigeria are actually qualified and are registered with TRCN. The same thing cannot be said of teachers in private schools.
So what are we doing about that? Because I'm just about to ask about private schools. How would they benefit? Yes, how do we bring them on board regarding all this benefit?
Yeah, you know our professionalism filters. No, you know our professionalism filters. The first thing is get yourself professionalized. That's the thing. Okay? If you know when a professional medical doctor is discussing and okay, let me use nurses. When an auxiliary nurse is discussing, it will be different from when a registered nurse is negotiating. When the two of them are negotiating, you are not negotiating on the same platform, my sister. You know, you are not. So when a qualified, a professional teacher is negotiating, a quack who has just maybe school certificate or has a degree in engineering and just fancy in the classroom cannot negotiate, because you are not a professional teacher, for goodness sake. So let us get professionalization sorted out with the private schools, so that private schools will also recruit those who are qualified, those who are registered, those who are licensed by TRCN. Thereafter, we talk of the pay. If you are a professional, look, a chartered accountant will tell you, I can't take a job that is less than so. You know what a senior advocate of Nigeria, if they bring a case, you say, don't take the case. If you know that you are not healed up, don't take the case to a senior advocate of Nigeria. The same thing we will get to when we finish.
But you know, Prof, when it comes to accreditation, monitoring and supervision, it falls under the purview of the TRCN. And if we're talking about qualified teachers, you want to see them in the private sector, you want to see them in the public sector. More importantly, how far has the TRCN gone in ensuring qualified teachers are churned out? Because beyond this policy, everybody's excited. Okay, there's a new welfare package for teachers and all of that. You know, are we having the right professionals in the teaching profession?
That's the thing. You know, there are several there are regulatory bodies for these institutions. For example, you have the National Commission for Colleges of Education that is in charge of regulating those who are having NC, the Nigerian Certificate in Education, or colleges of education in Nigeria. We have the NCCE. Then for the universities, you have the National University Commission, okay, that is also in charge. But the Teachers Pension Council of Nigeria, as a regulatory body, is also interested in what actually goes on in some of these institutions, and that's why we monitor what actually. And I want to say that at the last review of the curricula of colleges of education in Nigeria, TRCN participated actively. It was done by the National Commission for Colleges of Education, and TRCN participated actively because we felt that this category of teachers actually need to know certain emerging issues. They need to understand certain new things in the area. And I want to say that was why the NCC incorporated what we called the new professional standards for Nigerian teachers. Was incorporated into the college education curricula. Also, the what we call the code of conduct for Nigerian teachers was also incorporated in the new curricula for Nigerian teachers. So that we are always interested, because before they leave the institution and after they leave the institution, we are always, so it's not only when they come out, and that's why also finally before they leave the institution, TRCN also put a gatekeeping exercise in terms of professional qualifying examination.
Yes.
So that it's only those, even when they say they are graduates of their college of education or the university, it's only those who pass the TRCN exam that are now given the certificate. Even when they have acquired their certificate in their own institution.
So what is the level of quality being churned out when the examination is conducted?
Yes, the examination, he is very, let me tell you, it's like a hodgepodge soup. You find so many things there. It's full of so many ingredients. You find the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's very clear that Yes, the institutions is a reflection. It's a reflection of your institution, the performance of your candidates. Because these are the candidates you have certified. You said they are okay.
Yes.
And then when they now come to TLCN professional qualifying examination, you see 40-something% that we pass the exam. You see 20-something or 30-something% that we pass. Is a reflection of the quality of the graduates that we are turning out. So we are very, is part of the gatekeeping exercise that we are trying to do at the level of TRCN. If everybody have access, like previously, before 2015, before 2016, when we came on board, when Mr. President gave us the opportunity to be here, everybody, they were just being registered. Just bring certificate from anywhere. They were just being registered. But when Mr. President put us in charge, we said, no, we cannot continue that way. If you want to enter a medical profession, you must be qualified. If you want to enter even nursing and all the other professions, you must be qualified. So why is the only teaching that everybody will just walk in? So it's good that the examination was introduced, and it has really shown the caliber of candidates coming out from some institutions. Because by now, if you want to check the statistics, you will see some colleges of education where students are doing well, and you will also see some colleges of education and universities where students are not doing well.
Yes.
And it is a big reflection on the quality of what is going on in those institutions. So I think people have not come to realize what TRCN is trying to do. What TRCN is trying to do is to be able to shift the chaff from the wheat.
Who is responsible for retraining and training of these teachers? Because we see new norms in terms of technology comes up.
Well, government, the National Teachers Institute is primarily actually about training, but TRCN, as part of our mandate, we also engage in training of the teachers, and that is why I'm glad. Even under this global partnership on education project that is just going on as a response to COVID-19, the federal government of Nigeria got some funding, and TRCN was given, seeded the aspect of a teacher to anchor the aspect of teacher training with all other agencies working with us, like NTI, like NERDC, UBEC. They are all working with
we have TED fund to give certain allowance to teachers.
We'll get there.
Yes.
We'll get there. But with the training, TRCN is now anchoring the component of the training on digital literacy and online learning for the teachers under the global partnership for education. So TRCN engages in training. We also have our mandatory continuing professional development program for teachers, which we organize annually. We also have digital literacy, which we started in 2018.
Okay.
We started it in 2018, and we have all other courses, all other short programs that we're going to. We are taking Nigerian teachers to participate in so many international online training programs to expose Nigeria. About 50,000 of them at a time were taken. And in fact, there was one program organized by Education T4 Ed, that is an international organization, T4 Edu. About 100,000. In fact, Nigeria had the largest number of participants at that training program. About 100,000 Nigerian teachers actually participated at that training program. So our idea in TRCN, our focus in TRCN, is actually to expose the Nigerian teachers to all these massive training programs because we believe that yes, technology will not replace teachers.
Yes.
But teachers who know how to use technology will replace those who do not know how to use it. And that's why these days we emphasize on the use of technology, because in technology, everything is about ICT now. And a majority of these teachers we are talking about, they are digital immigrants. Our children are digital natives.
Yes.
But the teachers are digital immigrants. The children were born to digital age. So these teachers are just trying to learn. And like you and I. So it's important that we have to take them through a lot of trainings. And that's what we are doing at the level of the Teachers Selection Council of Nigeria. So apart from certifying the teachers, apart from the checking the quality of what is going on in the institutions, we are also interested in the training of the teachers. Okay. And TRCN is con. And that's why we have always been telling the government, if there is anything, TRCN has the manpower and we have the spread to be able to do this, to be able to train the Nigerian teachers. And that's where we are presently.
Okay, and if we want
there was this issue raised about I forgot it now. Which component? Was it about the not private schools now? I think there was an issue raised by our commentator earlier on, but I think we should get there. We'll get there later.
Okay, so a lot of Nigerians want to know this new policy we're talking about. What does it contain?
Oh, I think we have a list. Like I said, some
I have
Nigerians,
a draft copy.
yes, some Nigerians have been so clever, because it's a whole document.
Yeah.
Actually, and Mr. President signed even every page of it. But some Nigerians have been very clever to go and summarize everything. And I've been seeing everything flying on the social media that this and these are what are contained there. So I think it's a public document now. But what we know is that there are various components. There are components that are in terms of age and extension of service. There are components in terms of the training of the teachers, especially those who are in the institution, giving of bursary allowance, and also support to teaching practice. Yes, she raised the issue of that teaching practice, that maybe Third Fund will be the ones supporting the teaching practice now. What was in that paper, what was in the document was that yes, government will now begin to fund teaching practice adequately. Yes, they have been doing it before, but they will now fund teaching practice adequately to the extent that the students will be treated as those who are on CWES.
And
student industrial work experience.
Third Fund is also supposed to fund teaching practice.
Third Fund is doing that.
Okay.
And so now it will now be, they've been doing it with the College of Education. It will now extend to the universities as well, especially those faculties of education in the various universities. And
one other clause, they said automatic admission and tuition free for kids of teachers at places of work.
As part of the reward for teachers who are on the job.
Okay.
Actually, the idea of government is how do we encourage them? It's happening. It's not only in Nigeria. There are so many places where this is happening, where to encourage the staff, you now put certain facilities for them. We are saying that, look, if you are teaching in the school, why is your child not attending that school? It's one of the strategy we want to use to make sure in those days when you see the teacher, the teacher's children will also be in the same school with the teacher. Yeah. But these days what we find out is that look, teachers now send their own children outside that school. So in a way to encourage the teachers to bring their children to the school, government is saying that yes, your child will attend that school free of charge.
Okay.
Anywhere you are. If you are teaching in any unity school, your child will be in that same school and your child will not pay any fee. It will be at the government instance.
Okay, so it's just like a means to make sure that, okay, you are doing the right thing since your child...
No, actually it's part of encouragement to the teachers. It's part of morale booster to the teachers. Okay? But it's also a strategy to make sure that our teachers are well focused and that they are doing their job well.
And do you think the automatic recruitment for BE students, education students, is that feasible?
You see what we are planning. That's why all these things that is pushed out, because there is still an implementation committee. All the things that you have here, they are just general approvals. Okay, they are general approvals. We are working at the level of the implementation. We will need the state government to key in. How many teachers of geography do you need in a year? How many teachers of mathematics do you need in a year? This involves a lot of planning. All these things that you are seeing here, they are general blanket approvals given by Mr. President. But the implementation committee is still working. And that's why we want Nigerians to be patient with us. Okay? We are already working on implementation strategies for all these things. Okay, for example, even when we are talking of implementing the new the new welfare packages, we are talking of the new career path for Nigerian teachers and some other things like that. So what we are doing is that look, we are getting it. We are working on it, and Nigerians will soon get the details of everything when they come out. But I want to assure Nigerians that the National Implementation Committee is not resting, and we are working to make sure that this is implemented.
Okay, Prof, I'm sorry we're interrupted with my panelist. She's having a bit of cold, so we may continue this conversation
please,
without
no problem.
her.
Yes.
Okay,
please
so
go ahead.
All right. Now we're also looking at attracting. You talked about attracting best brains in the training profession, teaching profession rather. And if we want to look at these best brains already with this new national policy, it will change the perception of when you ask children, what do you want to become?
Oh, yes.
You know, we get to see more children
getting interested. You know, the competition, let me tell you, the competition in a country like Finland, is only the top best, the best of the best that get into teaching. You know, it's only that's why even a former chancellor of Germany said teaching is not for mean people. It's for serious people that are teachers.
Yeah.
Okay, teaching is in Finland is only the minimum qualification to enter into teaching actually is master's degree. In Finland, you must have a master's degree, and they select is highly selective. Okay, the entry into teaching profession is highly selective in Finland, and that's the kind of thing we want to get. For example, we are coming up to say that even the people that the bursary allowance is not going to be for everybody. Yes, you all enter into the institution, but after the first year, we want to see, especially those who have made a second class upper, those who are in the bracket of second class upper, then the government will support them. You know, when we get to the level of implementation, it's not going to be just everybody. Okay, it's not going to be everybody.
Okay,
it's going to be highly selective. We want to see, yes.
Why is it going to be highly selective?
Because
I thought it's supposed to be a benefit for every teacher.
No. We want to get the best of the best. Yes, everybody will go into the institution, but those that will be supported by the government in terms of bursary and stipends and all these things, they will be government scholars, for goodness sake, and there will be those that we are sure of their, they will be in the upper class, second class upper category, so that at the end of the day, we will have the best, the creme de la creme of those that will be recruited into the teaching
It's good
profession.
you mentioned the special bursary awards, education students in colleges and universities.
Is just what we have here is Nigerian thinking. Yes, generally, Mr. President,
No, just for clarity's sake.
Yes, okay. He has given the approval, but what we are saying is that there is going to be implementation strategies that will be drawn out. And the committee is already working on this. We are not out yet. When we are out, we will bring them out. Beneficiaries, what are the things? Qualifications, the requirements for you to be able to benefit from this stipend, for you to benefit from this award. What are the requirements?
So it's not yet
to come out with that.
Uhuru for the teachers, every teacher.
Oh my God!
It's not yet.
It's yet. Look, it's
because you're saying it's a selective process, or it's going to be
when you are talking of the bursary, yes, because we want to get the best of the best.
Okay.
I told you when we started that Mr. President was guided by two major principles. One, how do we get best brains into the teaching profession? Two, how do we retain experienced teachers on the job? Okay, so to get the best brains, when everybody have entered into the institution, after the first year, we will see the performance. Those who are in the top first class, second class, upper category, these are the people that government will now support. Okay, it's not going to be everybody. We are not going to support those who are in the third class, those who are in the second class lower. We are not going to support.
Okay, let's go back to the TED fund taking over the allowances we mentioned earlier. Just for clarity's sake, what are you expecting, differently?
No, TED fund has been doing this for the colleges of education.
Yes, that's why I say what are you expecting differently?
What we are doing now is to extend this to the students, education students in the universities. Okay, and their lecturers. Okay. That's what we are trying to do now. They have been doing it for education students in colleges of education in Nigeria. In fact, if you get to some of these colleges of education, their teaching practice laboratory is better, far better than what you have in our universities. So what we want now is to shift the attention of TED fund from colleges of education only now to the universities as well, to education students in the university as well, and their lecturers.
So what kind of impact do you think this policy will have when we're talking about tertiary enrollment for education courses like this?
You know what? Already, I can tell you, there have been some multiplier effects. When you look at the 65 years already, even those who are in other ministries at the federal level, those who are in other ministries, because they now know that teachers will retire at 65. Do you know some of them want to come to the classroom? That is the kind of thing we want to engineer. Already, I can tell you. I know. I'm not suspecting that some people, even in NTA, may say that they want to come to the Ministry of Education or to come to teaching. Yes, already their excitement has been aroused. Okay, and so that's the kind of thing we want to engineer. Okay, and I want to say that even when you look at institutions now, the number of applicants for education program has increased. Go and take the statistics from last year when this pronouncement was made in 2020. From 2020, check the 2021 JAMB admission slots. You will see that entrance into education, the applicants into education have actually increased. In some instances, even doubled. And this is the kind of thing that we want to see. Unlike before, when it's only people that could not make certain degree, cut off in certain degree, that they will not push to education. Now we are having people applying directly to go and read the education.
And one other issue of concern, we get to see most times before this policy was signed, when you send a teacher, post a teacher to those rural areas, a lot of people reject that, find their way back to the urban centers. And now, good news, there are special allowances
for rural posting.
For rural posting.
Rural posting allowance.
Yes. So will this make a difference in any way?
No, definitely. Anything that could add to the value of what the teacher earns actually will make a difference. I can assure you, it's not only in rural posting allowance. The government is also thinking of rural housing scheme for teachers in rural areas.
Okay.
It's part of the approval of Mr. President. And in that, it will involve interministerial collaboration.
Yes.
We are going to work, the Prime Minister of Education is intending working with the Ministry of Housing, to be able to address that. A rural housing scheme for teachers. Okay? And we are also in discussion even with the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Nigerian Union of Teachers to make sure that there is a synergy. How do we work this out to make sure that what Mr. President actually approved is implemented? We are going to have rural housing schemes for teachers in rural areas. And it's grabbing one that even some states of the Federation have started some of the things like that. They have housing schemes in rural areas for their teachers. Okay, these are the type of things that we want to be introduced more to encourage the teachers to go to rural area. So in those days when you are posted to rural areas, some teachers are very happy because there's what you call rural allowance.
But Prof, let's paint a reality here. You send a teacher to a rural community to teach. What about the quality of service of education being offered to the children there? Is it also being put into consideration?
If we are able to encourage more teachers to go to rural areas, believe you me, this quality you are talking about, there will be a change. There will be a change. It's
because you're sending a teacher there with no equipment.
It's because over the years, look, if you get some other agencies of government, you know what government is doing. When you are talking of some of these equipments, even rural schools, you will find, if you see the kind of school that is being built in some rural areas, you will be envious to go there now. I'm telling you the truth. So it's important for us to monitor what is going on in some of these rural areas. Okay? In fact, in any case, what do you call rural in Nigeria now? We can only talk of urban and peri-urban or semi-urban. Because even in that place you call rural, there is electricity. There's electricity there. There is a DSTV there. So the children can be exposed to all these things. Okay? The telephone is available, which is the cheapest, and you have radio. Okay, which is the commonest. So, there is even a limit to where you can call rural as of today in Nigeria.
Yes.
There is a limit to what we can. So that's why even in our social sciences research, we don't talk of urban and rural again now. We talk of urban and peri-urban or semi-urban areas. Okay? So, what we are trying to do is to migrate the teachers. Not everybody will be in the city. Okay? Because when you look at how many take a state, for example. How many mathematics teachers we have in this state? Let's say 100. You will discover in certain instances that about 90 of those 100 teachers are in the urban areas. What we are trying to do now is to discourage that. Okay. If we are able to attract the teachers, let's put certain attractions. Let's put certain attractions in those rural, what you call rural places, to be able to make life more easier for these teachers. And they will be able to stay in those places. That's the kind of thing that we are doing.
That question because just as they're thinking of making life better for the teachers, the children too who have been taught, the life should be easy for them. Education should be attractive for them.
No, definitely.
That's why I asked that question.
I agree with you.
Okay, so
I agree with you.
Now some of these benefits, just out of curiosity, I'm asking this, will it affect core members who are posted to rural areas to teach?
I don't have that mandate.
Okay.
I don't have that mandate for core members, but I know that TRCN is in good work relationship with the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, and the DG is my very good friend. And in fact, a letter just went out from TRCN to remind NYSC about the collaboration that we try to initiate to make sure that those that are being posted to schools to teach, we give them kind of orientation program during the orientation training program to give them certain tips on classroom, how to handle classroom and other things. We have just sent a letter to the NYSC DG to remind him on that so that we can finalize our arrangement on that. But in terms of, there are so many people demanding for increase. I know the coppers are also looking forward.
Because you're sending a core member to a remote area to teach, which happens all the time.
Let us leave that one to the NYC to be able to defend.
Okay.
I'm sure they are going to do that.
But is there hope for them?
No, I'm sure they will do that. I'm sure they will do that. When you see the DG of NYC, ask him that question.
I'm asking you because
I'm just a teacher.
I know you're just a teacher. I'm asking that question because of the enhanced entry for graduating students.
I will ask my friend, the DG of NYC.
Okay, what about the enhanced entry for graduating students into service?
Yes, into service.
So you see, it's correlated in a way.
Before now, after graduation, education graduates are just being treated like other graduates. The medical graduates, they will start them on level 9, 10, level 12 or so, and things like that. And when you have education, the education graduate will be started on level 8.
Okay.
And NCE will be started level 7. Now, with the new approval from Mr. President, education graduates will now start on level 9. Yes, that one is confirmed.
Okay.
With the approval of Mr. President, new entrance into teaching profession at the federal level and even generally all over. Instead of starting on level 8 as a graduate, you are now going to start on level 9. It's no longer level 8. Yes, and those with NCE that used to start on level 7, they will now start on level 8. That one is confirmed.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. That's part of what Mr. President actually approved. Because, like I said, the big man was thinking, what will I leave as a legacy?
Yes.
And I'm very glad. Even the Honorable Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu, used to say it. I want my legacy to be that I've improved the lot of the teachers of Nigeria.
This.
And I'm very glad that this is happening during his tenure. I am very, very glad. Always, anytime we have a discussion, he will call me, teacher, come. What do you people need? What do you people need? I am happy that this is happening during this period. And when he is still there in the statue as the Honorable Minister of Education, it's not a journey that we started today. We started it together about 2-3 years ago. And now, this thing is happening. So if there is anything that people should look at, let us look at this component. Let us look at what Mr. President has approved in terms of welfare. Because, look, over the years, Nigerian teachers have suffered a lot of demeaning things. They will say, ask for rent, not for teachers. You want to get a girl, to marry a girl as a suitor, you go to the father. You say, my son, what job are you doing? You say, I'm a teacher. Say, no, my son, you have not gotten a job. When you get a job, you can come back for the hand of my daughter in marriage. You see, we have suffered a lot of ridiculous things, but with these new approvals and things like this, when we start full implementation of all this, the status of the Nigerian teacher will change. Societal perception, societal perception of the Nigerian teacher will change. They will now know that as teachers, we are not just common people. Okay? And that is where we are trying to go. And this is what this government, the legacy this government is trying to leave in that area of education. And I'm very glad.
Yes, which should be commended, because this is the first time we'll have it in history.
No, teachers of Nigeria have never had it so good.
Yeah.
I am telling you, even what I got from the feelers I got from the Nigerian Union of Teachers and other teacher unions is that, look, they are very pleased with this government. That's the feelers I got, okay, from the Nigerian teachers. That, look, they have never had it so good. Okay, and I can say this anywhere. They called me, they tried to express their views and their joy, because over the years, they have been left somewhere Do you know all these things? The state rain started beating the Nigerian teachers long years ago. This thing started about 1992 when teacher salaries were not being paid for up to 1 year or 13 months and things like that, 24 months in some states. From 1992, okay, the rains have started beating the Nigerian teachers for long. But if this is the time that we are seeing redemption, I think as teachers we are very glad.
But which brings us back to implementation. We see FG and ASU, issues still hanging. And if we want to ensure that this policy has come to stay, there's sustainability, there's full implementation across the country, then
that's why we are not in a hurry with the implementation. That's why we are working out the details. Okay, we are giving it a good thought. We are giving this a good thought. By the time we are going to come out on the implementation, Nigerians will see that we have actually given a lot of thought have actually gone into this. Okay, by the time we begin to talk of the implementation, that's why we are taking it step by step. The first step that we are taking is the extension of years, and nobody will tell you as of today at the federal level we are doing that. We are doing that. Okay, so let me tell you the truth. That's why we are not rushing everything and lumping everything together. We are taking them one at a time, and we are going to make sure that step by step we get there. Okay, I can assure Nigerians we are giving this a thought. The National Implementation Committee is working, and is working assiduously well to make sure that we come out with the implementation strategy that will drive this approval of Mr. President. A good implementation strategy that will drive this Mr. President approval.
There's also the special teachers pension scheme that is being approved as part of the policy. What are the benefits in that regard?
It's not only what we are trying to do. The Nigerian police, the Nigerian army was removed from this contributory pension. The Nigerian police was removed. The implementation committee is also working on an idea around that area to make sure that we have a specialized one for the Nigerian teachers.
Okay.
That's the kind of thing that we are working around. Okay, but like I said, wait until you have the full report from the implementation committee.
How soon will Nigeria expect
like I said, we have started.
You said you started back in 2020.
We have always, Nigerians are always in a hurry.
No, Prof, sorry to hold your thoughts. You said you started in 2020, October, if I get you correctly.
That was when the announcements were made.
Okay, and the implementation process.
For example, the law itself, the bill was just signed to law last Friday by Mr. President. That is to show you the level of the seriousness. That bill has been passed through the House of Rep, the Senate. Immediately it got to Mr. President. It didn't take a long time before Mr. President gave his assent. That is to show you the level of our seriousness.
So,
we are very
just an
serious about
estimate.
this.
We know you're very serious. Teachers are serious people. What estimate are you giving us? Time frame? You can say a few months.
I cannot sit down there and begin to pontificate on time. I'm a man under authority as well. Okay, don't let me pontificate on time. If you have my honorable minister here, he can give you deadline of time, but I don't have that luxury. Okay, let me say that we are working at the level of, I'm a member, TRCN is a member, and I can say that we are working. Okay, and if I say we are working, we are working.
All right.
To make sure that we bring this to reality.
Okay, Prof, we're rounding off gradually. The tides have changed, obviously, for teachers. And this is something we've not seen for a very long time.
Exactly.
What is your projection, for the teaching profession and the teachers?
We want to see a teaching profession that is highly revolutionized. A teaching profession that is only driven by professionals. We want to see a profession that nobody can enter without requisite qualification, certification by the regulatory body, and licensing. We want to see a profession that is highly respected. Not a profession that is put second class or third class profession. We want to see a profession that is highly regarded by the society. Okay? In those days, at the beginning, teaching was highly regarded. The teacher was seen as the next to the king in the society. Okay? That's the kind of glory. We want to bring that back, that lost glory for the Nigerian teacher. And that is why we thank God. I was appointed in 2016. And it pleased Mr. President again to renew my appointment last year, and the Honorable Minister to renew my appointment last year. Okay, to say come back, come and continue this job. Okay, but at the end of the day, what we want to see is that, look, within the time that we are going to be in the saddle, let us make sure that certain foundations are laid to make sure that the teaching profession is well positioned in Nigeria, and that the teaching profession becomes a cynosure of all eyes.
And what's your message to Nigerian teachers if we must have the best brains?
No, definitely. Nigerian teachers, let me tell you, you make the best of the opportunity that has been provided by the government. And we call on Nigerian teachers to make the best use of the opportunity. They say to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes.
That is the dictum. That is the rule. Okay? The Nigerian teachers are expected to wake up to their job. And I want to say that, look, we are already seeing the effect of some of these things. Look at the result of the WAEC last year, May-June WAEC result last year. It's one of the best in the last 10 years. Yes. In spite of COVID and all the restrictions, the WAEC result last year, it was the best in the last 10 years. Okay, the same thing. Even although the last November December result was not terribly good, but it was even the best in the last 5 years. So it shows us that things are changing, and they are changing for the better. So I will appeal to my colleagues, the Nigerian teachers, to please let us, do our best. Okay, now the government is trying to look at us, and they are looking at our own side. Then we have to reciprocate to make sure that we give back to the society. Okay, our best, and make sure that we provide that quality education that the society actually demands from us.
Professor Segun Ajiboye, we wish every teacher in Nigeria the very best.
Thank you very much.
And we want to see this new teaching policy come to life.
Yes.
That is the most important. They say teachers' reward is no longer in heaven. It's
we want to take the reward in heaven, but let us enjoy part of it here first.
Thank you very much for your time on platform.
No, it's always my pleasure, really.
Thank you. And unfortunately, our panelist had to leave. She's down with cold. So
no, that's okay.
Excuse
that's
her.
okay. It's understandable.
All right. So we've been talking about evaluating the new teaching policy, and it's Uhuru for teachers finally. We want to see quality teachers, quality education, so that we'll have quality products churned out in society. That's Platform. Thank you very much for your time. I'm Ruth Aguilera.